Let's talk about bar chords. Now we've covered the open position chords. Those chords, as we mentioned, are not movable. The good thing about bar chords is that they are movable, and you can use some of the knowledge that you have, for example, the names of the notes on certain strings, to transpose the chords. So in other words, once you know where the root of a certain chord is in a bar chord, you can always move it to a different place on the fretboard to get other chords. Now, bar chords might be a little difficult to get initially. Just have some patience, and let's talk a little bit about a technique that can help you develop your bar chord skills. Now, a bar chord often involves stretching your first finger and fretting all 6 strings. Sometimes it can be a partial bar or a half bar, but a lot of times it involves using your first finger to hold down multiple strings. Now, the important thing to remember when you're holding a bar chord is to try and have most of the force come from your hand. You're pulling back. Some people try to squeeze with the bar chord. Try and have it so that the guitar is positioned in a way that allows you to pull back, and that most of the pressure comes from you pulling back more than it would be that you would be squeezing to try and get the bar tight enough to hold down the strings. So in this case, I can actually hold a bar on the 3rd fret, and I'm not even using my thumb, just to give you an idea of how much the pressure is. I'm pulling back, and my arm on the other side is holding the guitar in place, and I'm pulling back, and I can apply enough pressure to have the strings sound, even though I'm not using my thumb. So of course then the thumb is just a little bit of additional more force, and usually for bar chords you're going to keep your thumb sort of somewhere in the middle of the fret. Now the great thing, as I mentioned, about bar chords is that if you hold a chord, for example, we're going to hold an F chord in first position, where we have a bar, and we're going to put our fingers in those positions right here. Now notice that this is strangely similar to when we played our E chord. And you remember how we said that our E chord was not a movable chord. If we move it up a half step and we use our first finger to put a bar on the 1st fret, what we get is an F major chord. We have F on the 6th string, we have C, which is our 5th, that's 5, and then we double our F again. We have A, which is 3, then we have C, which is 5, and we double the F again. So this is an F major bar chord. Now, I mentioned these chords are movable, so if we were to move this chord up a whole step to where the lowest note, which in this case is the root, is a G, we can play exactly the same shape. Only now the chord becomes a G major chord. So here we have an F major chord with the root right here on the 6th string. And here we have a G major chord with the root on the 6th string. Again, the relationship between the notes is the same. We have a root, we have 5, we have the root, we have 3, 5, and 1. Now, that movable shape works anywhere on the fretboard. If you were to move it further up the neck, the chord would simply take the name of the note that lies in the root position. Here it was an F, here it was a G, and here it would be an A. Now, let's do a couple more movable bar chords, major chords, and this time we're going to do chords with the root on the 5th string. Now, I know that you've already memorized, hopefully, all of the names of the notes on the 5th string. So I'm going to give you a movable bar chord shape that actually has the root on the 5th string. Now here we're going to start with a C major. I know we've done an open position C chord. Now we're going to do a movable bar C major chord, and it's like this. And notice that they sound very similar. It just sounds almost like a different inversion. Here we have 1, 5. We have 1 again. That's 3. And then we have 5. And we can double 5 on the 6th string because that's the same note. So here we have G, C, G, C, E, and G again. All of these notes are 1, 3, and 5 of a major scale, and they all make up a movable triad bar chord C major with the root on the 5th string. Now, since the shape is movable and you know the names of the notes on your 5th string, that allows you to take that basic shape anywhere on the fretboard. If we were to play it here, that would be a C major. If we were to move it down to this note, that becomes a B major. Now if we were to move it up to this note, which is an E, and we played that same shape, that would be an E major chord. Now I'm going to give you a couple more of these movable bar chords, and really be patient. It really does take a little bit more effort to learn some of these bar chords. So make sure you learn all of your open position chords. Those are a little easier to play. And certainly if you want to change keys, you can use the capo. We spoke about that. Now let's talk about some minor chords, movable bar chords. So here we're going to remember that that was our F major chord, and remember the difference between a major chord and a minor chord was that the 3rd was lowered a half step. So here we have an F major chord. And we have 1, 5, and that's 1, and this is our 3rd. So if we were to lower this note just a half step, so we're going from an A to an A flat, we get this shape. So this is F major, and now this is F minor. Now this movable shape, the root is on the 6th string, so we can move this with our knowledge of the names of the notes of the 6th string. We can move this anywhere on the fretboard, and the chord would simply take the name of the note in the root position. So we're going to move it up to the 5th fret here. I'm going to play that same shape, and that is an A minor chord. It has 1, 5, 1, flat 3, 5, and doubled again. So that is a movable bar chord shape that has the root on the 6th string. Now we're going to show you a shape that is a movable bar chord shape with the root on the 5th string. Again, we can use the knowledge that we have of the names of the notes on the 5th string and plug in this shape anywhere where the root lies on that 5th string, and that chord will take the name of that note. So let's start right here. We're going to start with C minor. This is a C minor movable bar chord shape with the root on the 5th string. You remember the C major that we just learned. If we lower the 3rd, which in this case is the E, to an E flat, we wind up with a C minor chord. This is C major, and this is C minor. The root is in this position right here on the 5th string. If we were to take that shape and move it to another place, let's move it up here to where this note is an E. That is now an E minor chord. 1, that's 5, that's 1, flat 3, and 5 again. That's an E minor. If we were to move it down here, where this note is a B, now we have a B minor bar chord. So with this knowledge, we can play any major chord and any minor chord in different places on the fretboard. If it's on the 6th string, that note, G, for example, will be the name of the chord. If it's on the 5th string, that note, C, would be the name of the chord. And for minor, if it's on the 6th string, that note, which is an A, would make this chord an A minor. And if it's on the 5th string, that note, which is the root on the 5th string, 5th fret, would be the root of this chord, which is a D minor. Again, be very patient with these bar chords. It takes a while to get the right pressure, but in time, you'll be playing chords all over the neck.